Greetings, my friends. This is Celeria Rosencroix, and once more we are now playing Dark Souls on the 6th episode of Dark Souls C Endless Nights. Now, as you may have noticed, I now have the winged spear equipped. As such, I must admit I have been grinding a little bit, and my character now has sufficient strength to properly use it, as they are a dexterity-based character, and therefore need a nice dexterity weapon. This scales extremely well for that. Now, I must also admit that I missed one important item, or at least one present item. I don't know what it is yet. But we were able to see this beforehand, but not acquire it earlier. Lost Soul of an Undead. Okay. That was just worth noting. That's something I missed. So, we shall now go on and talk about some things that occurred to me after I finished the last play session, but which were not obvious to me at the time as such. This man, Petrus here, gave a certain gift. That gift was the copper coin. This copper coin of Mr. Old Man McLoif represents the fact that he is god of medicine and drink. That is significant, and we should have actually covered what that implies. See, in Elden Ring we have this wonderful item called the Roa fruit. Extremely common, but it demonstrates much about the nature of the world. It is a red berry, which, when properly used to craft other items, can be used as a medicinal ingredient. In particular, it is used as a medicinal herb that ferments other items. Using the power of rot, which we can see much more clearly in the DLC, is used to ferment things in order to create medicine. In the DLC, we also see it being the case that soporific draughts and alcohol in general are associated with rot. So, when this copper coin is offered to us, we are able to see this man represents a rotten institution. He's given me a coin associated with a god of rot. And of course, alcohol is often called rotgut, which is something that should make that quite obvious. So that is something important. The Way of White looks even worse now that we have that properly in context, as basically the first introduction to the character of the Way of White. But there is more that we have to keep in mind. See, while grinding for experience, or I should say, for souls to level my character up, I happen to get 2 items. And these are rather interesting items. First, we have the red and white shield. This red and white shield comes from the skeletal undead in the graveyard behind this Firelink shrine, nearby a certain cave, which I imagine also has significant amounts of undead. But the very important thing is this. Round wooden shield crafted in Lordran, featuring an impressive red and white design. The giant trees of Lordran are distant offspring of great stone arch trees. The shield inherits their properties, and the wood greatly reduces magic damage. So this is something that is brought into being a little ways after the earliest part of the Age of Ancients. Obviously, they needed some time to be able to prepare offspring trees from those arch trees that survived the previous world. And those giant trees took a long time to actually grow, or else they would not be giant. They seem to have lost the fact that they are actually made of stone, but they retained a resistance to magic, which comes from the fact that those stony trees are able to resist the mist. The mist is something that is associated with soul, and therefore magic. That directly shows us that our intuitions in the initial video on the intro to Dark Souls were correct. It is in fact the case that the arch tree's stony defense is what allowed them to survive through the world-melting fog. But beyond that, The red and white design is extremely important because, in concert with that design, we are able to see that the skeletons are bound with the scimitar, short, curved sword. Each hit inflicts little damage, but fluid chain of attacks are deadly. The scimitar's sharp slashing attacks are effective against cloth and flesh, but not metal armor or tough scales. So, these skeletons were armed, and they were armed for a later engagement than the war with the dragons. The dragons were not a concern, so you don't have the worry about actually having to get through those tough scales anymore. This actually is very much in the same vein as the shield. It corroborates the idea that the army produced was something that was significantly after the initial conflicts and probably actually was part of the Age of Fire. Now, we do also have an item that is associated with the working of the arch trees and them becoming more mundane objects that can be used as a resource. That would be this Demon's Great Hammer. Has no special power of itself, but it was built from the stone arch trees. So you have a connection between demons and this sort of shield, which is produced by the descendants of the arch trees. So you might say demons might have already emerged by the time that this shield was produced, or it could be the case that because we had new trees in addition to the arch trees were able to become resources thereafter, and the demons might have followed on shortly. There's some sort of closeness in the timeline that we are able to observe, but which is not 100% clear yet. We will be able to see that later. But that's not actually the most important part of the shield. See, red and white is significant. White, we already know, is associated with the Way of White. White is the emblematic color of Gwyn. But when we combine it with red like this, it must indicate that Gwyn is actually sharing his power with someone. I would suggest that's emblematic of the marriage that he must have had with the Witch of Izalith. Not only is it the case that she has ruddy skin, naturally comparing her with the color red, but also it's the case that fire is something which appears as red. Red is associated with fire in Elden Ring, and generally speaking, when we think fire, it is something that will come up. Red is the color of flame in many people's minds. But beyond that, Gwyn is also associated with flame, but he is associated with white. It's the purest, hottest fire. White is the color that the sun actually produces, and through which we are able to get the rainbow. But red is a more mundane fire. Red is something that we produce by burning wood. So with that in mind, keep the fact that the Witch of Izalith created great firestorms in your mind, and you'll be able to come to the idea that both of them were actually gods of fire, and the pairing is a natural one. That army of skeletons, therefore, is probably actually for a combined army of Gwyn and the Witch of Izalith before she lost her name and became subject to degradations of history. Now, this is something that should naturally bring our minds, if we remember the lore of Elden Ring, as wouldn't be possible for a new Dark Souls player, but is for someone in my position, to the union between Radagon and our dear White Lady known as Queen Marika the Eternal. See, Marika and Radagon are an example of what you would call the archetypical White Queen and Red King. In alchemy, they come together to create something that is divine, pure, and transcendent. Here, we see that the same idea probably applied to our dear Lord Gwyn and the Witch of Izalith. It's thought they're both gods of fire, so they should come together and create a union which is more divine and harmonious by pooling their resources. But eventually, the Lady of Izalith, who would become known as the Witch, would be parted from Gwyn, and he would remain as the king of the gods, having overthrown his queen, the same as Zeus overthrew Metis. So, pretty dark. FromSoft games do dwell on the nature of marriage and divorce. They try to make the gods something that are relatable to human identity, as more family members and individuals that you could see your own family in. That is a consistent recurring theme in these games. Oh! One more thing. I just remembered something. With the rot theme of the Way of White, it's important to note that in Demon Souls, we have the Saint Astrea, or Maiden Astrea, who is a woman who was the greatest saint of their time, who believed in God and was able to perform great miracles. However, eventually, in the face of the demonic incursion that swarmed their world and left almost all people losing their souls and consumed, she herself was corrupted and became a demon. And in fact, her soul, once we claim it, indicates that she was the most foul and depraved of all demons, and she dwells in a swamp of poison and rot, with people worshipping her as if she were a new god. This is something that we see is paralleled to the worship of Melania, despite the fact that rot is something she rejects in Elden Ring, and so we should think that the Way of White is being compared to rot, because Miyazaki happens to take these themes and carry them from one game to another. In Demon Souls, we have the Rotten Saint. In Dark Souls, we now have the Rotten Old Man McLoif. So, we can see that the Way of White is related to Old Man McLoif because we are receiving coins that are associated with the Way of Whites via the clergy who hands them out. And we shall proceed with this understanding from this point forward. But now, we venture into a new area. Hey there, Mr. Firebomb! Oops. Did not mean to activate the binoculars there. Whoopsie daisy. There we go. Okay, so I have to deal with that firebomb wielder before I am able to proceed. And they will want me to deal with this guy before then as well. Ah! Shabam! Now, I'm not able to go there, but I should be able to proceed down this way. I will first claim this. Ha! Firebomb underneath the guy with firebombs. Natural. He must have dropped some or had a pile. And I will claim this, which I could see from a distance. And proceed with caution. Lost soul of an undead, being kept by a filthy rat. Okay, so we have this sewer, or I should say, no, this is the internal part of an aqueduct. We can proceed along here. This cannot be opened from this side. I'll see if I can't find something interesting up here before I proceed back down. So, this is a place that is filled with very narrow passages. It is filled with people who are ambushing us. And it seems like a place that has a lot of secrets to uncover. Dear oh dear, that is a place with lots of ambushers. Yes, thank you. Now these hollows, unlike the previous ones that we've encountered, actually are immediately aggressive. The ones at the asylum must have had their wills beaten out of them or something. And we find a wonderful treasure that is in the form of rubbish that has lured us out. This is classic Miyazaki and reminds us of the demi-humans who also use trash to lure people to their dooms. Yes, amazing treasure! Wonderful rubbish! Okay, yet another narrow corridor that we can go down. Ah, that is the way that we got up here in the first place. So there's circuitous design. And humanity. Humanity found amongst the rubble and decay. So this is obviously a castle town. We find very tightly built houses, built together, presumably for the maximalization of space. You have the roofing here being used as additional architecture. People are traversing from one place to another, it seems, by going along rooftops to some extent. Unfortunately, our path has been forced upon us. But that just means we've been able to navigate the level perfectly well to start off with. Ah ha ha ha! So there was a bit of a trap there. This is also a bit of a trap. Interesting that these windows are so large yet barred with iron. Unfortunate that this stairwell is also blocked off there. We can't proceed in this direction, so we will continue down this way. Again, I could do the fog door, but I want to save that for later. Do all the exploration possible here first. Large soul of an undead. We should be able to level up soon. Ah, we've already been this way. Very circuitous design indeed. Good to know that we've had this opportunity to return to an area which we weren't in before. That, I think, is supposed to be... No? No, that couldn't be a fireplace. That's just a storage area. There's no, Whoa! Dear, oh dear. That rooftop has been blocked off. So this is awkward. We'll have to find our way back another way, but fortunately we already know how to get there. And now the fog wall is our only path other than going downwards. And this time, we will actually take the fog wall. I have a feeling that that other pathway is dangerous. Not that this one won't be either. Lots of souls of lost undead over here. It's almost like this place is where the undead church is. So, okay, we might be able to make that jump. Why not try? Yep, as expected. Well, I won't be continuing to try that for a little while. Curious. I thought I had gotten that already. Is that a respawning item? Oh, I see. I didn't want to risk the firebomber. So let's see what we have here. Lost soul of an undead. Very common, but very useful. Very curious that that one turns around as well. And here we go. Now, I do know that it's possible to get over there, but I suspect it might be by a different means. So, let's see what we have here. Oh, hi there. That would appear to be a dragon. Or, as our dear friend Elden Ring tells us, a drake. Considering the fact that everlasting dragons are all gone, I imagine that is some sort of lesser dragon here as well. Okay, there's a bonfire. That ought to be very useful. And I shall pop off a few soul items as well. I think I'm going to need extra souls in order to make sure that I'm able to level twice. Excellent. Now, since we have the opportunity, I should have ample humanity to be able to... Well, I should have done 2 of those. Unless, of course, this has also been coincidentally kindled, I should be able to kindle this bonfire, and we can see what that actually means. Humanity is restored in a shower of red sparks. Red is associated with not only fire, but vitality. Vitality returns to us. We look as if we are human again. Beautiful. Now let's see what kindling does. Same pose as returning humanity to us, but it causes the red flames of the bonfire to go higher. Instead of us receiving the vitality, the bonfire receives the vitality. As you might expect, since bonfires seem to be burning away humanity. Now let's see what's behind door number 1. Ah, a wooden shield. And it seems to be a big shield. Vertically elongated wooden shield decorated with a white dragon. This shield is associated with Seath. Seath, therefore, must be associated with wood. Perhaps he was, in fact, associated with the beginning to extract the arch-tree resources. We know that he was an ally of Gwyn, and presumably stayed an ally of him, so it would not make 0 sense for it to be the case that he helped unlock the arch-trees as a resource for people, or perhaps helped with the cultivation of the descendant trees as seen on the red-white shield. Wooden shields are lighter than metal shields, but with lower physical damage reduction and reduced shield stability. Okay. So, Firebomber wants to chase me into here. Wanted to get me in a situation where things are dangerous. Cannot open from this side. Okay. Now the firebomber can't hit us from here, which is very useful. This appears to be a home that has been opened as a place of traversal between different areas. That is very curious. A chest. Now we know that mimics do exist, so... Okay, not a mimic. Black firebombs. Excellent. So, those pieces of wood seem to be rather reinforced and tough. This is interesting. That is a view into a different area, but we can't actually traverse into it. Unfortunate, but we now know that there is an area over there, so if we get to the roof of this structure, we can jump down there. It looks like we just might. And the roof should be where the firebomber is. Yep. Oh no! These guys chased me. Very rude. How dare you? Okay, so that is an archer over there. Fortunately, he hasn't noticed me, so I don't have to worry about him. Now we can drop down there. We will, but first we have to get to this. And since we want to minimize fall damage... Oh, we actually have a choice here. We can either go down this way, or we can try to proceed this way. I think we'll try to go here. Oh, I see. Oh dear. Oh, that's awkward and unfortunate. Hollow Warrior Helm. Let's see what it gives us. Helm worn by hollow warriors. Although it is made of iron, it is old, battered, and worn out. It is wise to wear sturdy form of head protection against arrows and other physical threats. Okay. I don't know that that's super great. In fact, let's compare. Oh, poison resistance. Good. That is a through line with Elden Ring as well. The thief has poison resistance added by their mask on Elden Ring. Good to see there's consistent design. I'll stay with this one. Oh, fire bombs from the common little soldiers. Goodness gracious. There we go. Well, that's rather unfortunate, but we got a new item. So that's some very powerful enemy right there. We have our first ring, though. Boosts defense while HP is low. I'm not sure how effective that'll be, but I will wear it anyway. A rare gem called Tearstone has an uncanny ability to sense imminent death. This blue Tearstone from Katarina boosts the defense of its wearer when in danger. So it's an intelligent magic item. Excellent. Another Hollow Warrior Helm. Ah ha ha ha. I don't think I'll worry about getting my my souls back on that particular endeavor. I will kill off these firebombers though, because they will be annoying. Oh, good. That is a great mercy. Thank you, Miyazaki, for not making it to where I had to fight that knight in black armor. Ah. Weakness? Death, yes. Da 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 da! Yay, the thief class actually coming in useful. Okay, so this is a rather beautiful home. Very compact, but it has a nice setup going on here. You have a fireplace, you have ample storage, you have this dinner table. Candelabra. Lots and lots of cups and jugs and plates and whatnot. Gold pine resin. Have to see what that does. Gold pine resin. A rare pine resin which emits golden sparks, applies lightning to the right-hand weapon. Affected weapon inflicts rare lightning damage, making it effective against targets which are resilient to both magic and fire. Very effective against dragon family foes. I think that might be a hint that we happen to have a dragon on the loose here. Of course, we saw that dragon already. Ha! Estus flask. Yeah, shield doesn't help when you get speared in the head. Okay. I think, actually, since I'm trying to get as much lore as possible, I will go down and fight that thing. But I want to see if there's a bonfire up ahead. Oh dear. Well, I survived. How unexpectedly quaint. And I found a secret area as a result. So that was some smooth level design. Okay. Hopefully the fire barrel is no longer here. And it's not. This is ominous. I suspect there's a boss at the end of this well, so I'm going to see about getting to that other bonfire that I'm sure is just around the corner. So, that's 2 bosses we have to hope are here. Or rather, which we have to concern ourselves with. And there's a fog door. Please be a bonfire. Please be a bonfire somewhere soon. Darn. Okay, this is a boss arena, and I was just screwed. How unfortunate. So that's 3 bosses the game saw fit to put in a row to mess with us. And I don't see them. I know there must be one. One here. Come on. Jump off that tower. Yep. Crud, 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 crud. Another demon. Well, if this one is as tough as the last one, that could be a problem. Ah. Darn it. No! Okay, this is going to be rough. I tried doing a jumping fall attack, but I've not mastered that technique. I guess because I want my souls, I'll have to do these bosses in reverse order here. What? What the heck is this? Is this some sort of demonic crab? Twin humanities? I suppose so. Very odd. Come on, Taurus demon. No! Oh dear. That's unfortunate. It looks like this demon will be much easier to manage than the previous one, however. No demonic crab this time, though. I shouldn't have done that. So this is yet another case of the demons appearing in my way because they want to sabotage the undead prophecy, presumably. And there we go. The Taurus demon has fallen. Victory achieved. Homeward bone and humanity. That is interesting. Why does this person, demon, happen to have a homeward bone? They must have grabbed it from a bonfire or something. Let's see. Bonfire, bonfire, hopefully somewhere soon. Okay, there's a bridge coming up. Well, that's good to know. Can't see much down there, but there is something down there. Nothing there. Oh, we can see the rays of the sun. Don't stare into the sun, people. It's bad for your eyes. Hello? I told you don't stare into the sun.
Ah, hello. You don't look hollow, far from it. I am Soler of Astora, an adherent of the Lord of Sunlight.
I see.
Now that I am undead, I have come to this great land, the birthplace of Lord Gwyn, to seek my very own son.
Your very own?
You find that strange? Well, you should.
Yes.
No need to hide your reaction. I get that look all the time.
A rather queer fellow. Searching for his own son when the sun is right there. I suppose that means this man is actually seeking the path to godhood. See, this is the land of Lord Gwyn, where the sun itself must have been vaguely born, if you're talking about Gwyn as Lord of Sunlight. So he seeks godhood himself. He seeks to follow the path, the way of Lord Gwyn. I'm not sure this is actually reflective of the way of white. In fact, I would argue that's probably not the case. He sounds like he's probably a heretic. But it is very, very interesting, especially since he has a sun that is surrounded by a fan of red rays. Just like the red and white shield, but the sun is yellow instead of white for some reason. But it is on a white field. So we'll keep that in mind. He seems to be a person who is following Gwyn and has a sort of desire for a similar path. And he seems like he might be in a position to where he has some sort of connection to, or at least lack of animosity towards, the Witch of Izalith.
Oh, aha. So I didn't scare you.
No, you did
I
not.
have a proposition, if you have a moment.
Sure.
The way I see it, our fates appear to be intertwined.
Oh?
In a land brimming with hollows, could that really be mere chance? So what do you say? Why not help one another on this lonely journey?
Sure.
This pleases me greatly. Well then, take this.
White sign soapstone.
We are amidst strange beings in a strange land. The flow of time itself is convoluted, with heroes centuries old phasing in and out.
Oh.
The very fabric wavers, and relations shift and obscure. There's no telling how much longer your world and mine will remain in contact. But use this to summon one another as spirits, cross the gaps between the worlds, and engage in jolly cooperation. Of course, we are not the only ones engaged in this, but I am a warrior of the sun. Spot my summon signature easily by its brilliant aura. If you miss it, you must be blind.
Ah, yes. Another gazing into the sun reference, but he is making it as a joke, whereas I was being quite serious. Don't gaze into the sun, people. But that is interesting. The flow of time is convoluted. This makes sense because the sun and light are linked with time in FromSoft. We see this when you see a bright flash of light, it representing some sort of time travel mechanic. When you beat Elden Ring, you will see white light flash, and then you can restart the game. And before this, you see white light flash, and spoilers if you don't know the ending of Elden Ring, you can see the Elden Beast reverse into the form of the Elden Ring again, and Marika reverse from the body of Radigan, despite the fact that the body had actually been a sword prior to this. So, white light, Gwyn, time, Gwyn probably dying means that time is becoming convoluted. It's not just the sun. The Age of Fire is about time in this world actually proceeding. Because Gwyn took upon himself the nature of the flames that caused disparity, and the disparity was the dawn of time. Okay. So that's a major revelation. We'll keep that in mind. White soapstone. Be summoned to another world as a phantasm through your sign, and defeat the area boss to acquire humanity. Hollows cannot conduct summons. Okay. So, there was a sign of the Gravelord which appeared a little while ago. I assume that's the same thing, but not with a white sign soapstone, because that appeared black. So, Gravelord Nito, I guess. The sign of the Gravelord must mean Nito. Nito is the Lord of the Dead. He must be the one who is authorizing those soapstones. Or those signs. That must be what's going on. And the same way that Gwyn has a way of white covenant associated with him, he must have a way of black covenant or something. So, in Lordran, the flow of time is distorted, and the white sign soapstone allows undead to assist one another. Just as Solaire said, that's very good to note. We really need to find that bonfire. It's locked. Oh dear. That's not pleasant. Dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh. Aha! There we go. And this puts us in a good position to fight those other two bosses. Most excellent. I think, yes, I kindled this bonfire again. I will, however, reverse hollowing. I don't even know what this does, but I like seeing my character appear human. And hollowing is supposed to make you go crazy, so I don't want to have to deal with that. Health is rather important. Endurance. Let's go with dexterity. This seems like a good situation. And this seems like a good stopping point. We have had quite the adventure here. We have found a new friend in Solaire who wants to aid us on our journey. That path is broken there, but we have mended it, and we have closed the circle. So now, we can go and hopefully not get killed by that dragon some more, and hopefully find out why the demons are attacking us. But more importantly, kill that mini-boss, the Black Knight. Knight in black armor, I should say. And whoever is at the bottom of that well. This has been Celeria Rosencroix, and I thank you for joining me. It has been my pleasure. Farewell.